Welcome to Story Punk. I am Scott.
I am Drew.
And we are here today to talk about the movie Dog Day Afternoon.
Can you do me a favor before we start?
Yes.
Can you please, well, I guess we already started, but can you please keep your gun pointed up
Yes,
in case this podcast hits a bump? I don't want it to go off.
Yes, I will do that because I don't want to get shot in the head.
No, you do. You will get shot in the head. But I'm not doing that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So today we're talking about this is a classic.
It is an American classic.
An American classic, and it actually
by a director who made several of them.
You know, I forgot to put down the year. Is it 72?
1975.
75.
50 years ago.
50 years ago.
Just like Jaws.
It is pretty impressive. And so why don't we jump right into it? So basically, the movie is about three amateur bank robbers that plan to hold up a Brooklyn bank. It's supposed to be simple, walk in, take the money, and get out. But unfortunately, or fortunately for us as the movie viewer, the uncomplicated heist becomes a total nightmare because pretty much everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Pretty much right from the get-go.
Losing an accomplice as it begins.
Yes, in the beginning, it's
and their ride home.
Yes, and their ride home, which is actually one of the parts that I love. And we talk about some of the themes here are how we have like these outcasts, and it shows us how like outcasts or freaks in society can be very relatable. Mm-hmm. Sometimes more relatable than your just your regular neighbors, and also the idea of sort of media spectacle and criminal. And I almost feel bad calling them criminal because there actually are pretty nice guys, more or less. But I do feel like it was very for a movie that was made in 1975, really prescient for.
It's very very modern.
Yeah, for a movie that would turn people like this into celebrities like almost immediately.
Yep.
In an age where you don't have. Obviously, there's no internet or anything like that.
Well, that's why it's funny because kids today would see this movie and they would immediately recognize somebody going viral.
Yes.
They have no idea what Attica is.
Yeah.
But the process and what it looks like, and also why that might not be good, is all basically, I feel like, how our whole society runs at this point.
Which is funny because the whole Attica thing, I mean, is within the movie and outside of the movie makes a speaking of like what would pass for going viral back then. I mean, that was a line that was ad-libbed by Al Pacino and sort of became for years, even after like decades after the movie, was sort of like this rallying cry for rebellion. If you were rebellious, you kind of threw that out there. Even I would say, even into like the 90s, people would say, and where it had sort of lost the connection to the original meaning of what it meant.
Well,
people would say it and not even know what it meant.
It's Al Pacino, so he makes a movie and he's going to have usually more than one, but he's going to have lines that are immediately memorable and go into culture and sometimes take on their own life like that. Like,
sure.
I mean, think of any movie like I Knew It Was You. From Godfather Part 2 and stuff like that. Of course, my favorite one is when he's yelling at Hank Azaria in Heat, and he goes, "She's got a great ass, and your head was all the way up it." And you're like, that is fucking poetry. Thank you, Michael Mann.
He, if you've seen...
By the way, I know that was an amazing impression of Al Pacino. You're welcome.
It was very loud, too.
That's his acting from the 90s on.
There you go. Well, I know that is true. It is funny how he definitely has specific looks and acting styles.
He has eras.
He does. Yeah. He definitely has eras. So he also, if you've ever seen, and not to get off on a tangent with Heat, but the backstory behind that was that he was thinking about that character was doing cocaine. Apparently, the character was doing cocaine all the time.
Who was doing cocaine all the time?
Al Pacino's character,
Sonny.
Hannah. Vincent
Oh,
Hanna.
Vincent Hanna in the Heat.
in
Yeah.
Heat.
Oh no, I think that's very clear.
Yeah.
That he's on coke. Not just like, oh, he's on drugs. Like, no, he's on coke.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Get killed walking your doggy. I mean, it's just the whole thing is just ridiculous. At least he looks like he's having a good time. And don't get me wrong, I really like that movie. But
Yeah. No, I
his
do too.
performance is definitely a distinct part of it.
Sure. You know, there's something about these movies from the 70s that there's just something about the look and the editing and the pacing. It's just, you know, you just feel like that there are the takes seem to be a lot longer. You know, I feel like we're just in
Wider.
Yes, and wider. And although I didn't feel like the necessarily a lot of the shots were like in this movie were real wide, but
Well, I mean, it's not like it doesn't have cutting back and forth and close-ups, but I think it might even be the first real conversation between Charles Durning and Al Pacino, and it's just the camera's just on Charles Durning as they talk back and forth, and that I like that shot because it's I don't know if it's the same part of the same conversation. I wish I remembered. I don't know why I'm not remembering if it's after that. But when he basically tells Al Pacino, I mean, look at how many guns are on you.
Yeah.
And the camera just moves, you know, from the sniper on the building, which we've already seen. He's already looked on the other side. And it just kind of moves across all the cops.
Yeah.
And you get a sense of like, oh, wow, this is real trouble.
And I think it's one of those things where the overall story is, you know, it's fairly simple. You know, it's a guys go in to rob a bank. It doesn't go the way they planned, and then they're like, okay, well, we need to get out of this situation. And you know, it's not really the most well thought out plan because they're probably not the best bank robbers. Obviously, this is not something that they have done before, and that's very clear from very early on in the movie. And they, you know, so it's sort of like a plan that they're just kind of throwing together on the fly, and we see how that sort of plays out through till the end.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that as far as the idea of how the characters are you know, that really we have the focus on you know, it's Sonny and Sal, right?
Yeah, Sonny and Sal.
You know, that's really who we're dealing with here. You have the Charles Durning character, but it's really we're not really going into to his character too much.
Yeah, we don't watch Charles Durning or Lance Henriksen write their wills or anything like that. Yeah, and we don't have Charles Durning's mom show up and yell at him.
Yeah, and then you also have the Chris Sarandon character as well, and that's where we are as far as you know, with the characters, and as far as what we really are kind of like looking into with that as far as the story goes.
Written by Frank Pearson.
Yes.
And P.F. Kluge and Thomas More, based on a true story. But really, everyone, you know, associates this movie with Frank Pearson, who won an Oscar for writing it. And he was nominated for 2 other Oscars. One was Cool Hand Luke, another excellent movie.
Yes.
And then one of my favorite Westerns, Cat Ballou.
Oh,
also nominated.
I do remember. God, I haven't watched that. I watched that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And
although, you know, he didn't even accept his award. He wasn't there.
Oh, really?
So Gore Vidal presented it and then accepted it on his behalf. I can't even imagine.
And I felt like one of the things about, as far as the writing, they did a really good job of making these characters very sympathetic. This is you know, they could have, when it comes to like when you have these sort of like anti-hero characters, and I'm calling him an anti-hero because he's a bank robber. But really, I mean, when you typically think of an anti-hero, they usually have very selfish motivations. And I mean, he's really more of just the Sonny character of Al Pacino he's sort of this desperate working class, you know, who desperate working class man who is motivated. Really, it's kind of a selfless, in a sense. I mean, it's
Well, he's
for,
certainly not robbing a bank to get rich, and it's
Yeah.
very clear that he, owes a lot of money and has a lot of financial problems. So, look, I mean, this movie, and this feeds directly into the themes and the events of the movie. This movie defies categorization,
yeah,
just like many of the characters do.
yeah,
And even people that you are going to categorize, like, oh, that's a man who thinks he's a woman, and the cops laugh at that.
yeah,
But Leon is a fully realized character
Sure.
and a person, and he has a history with Sonny, and they have, that conversation that they have feels like a real thing. And a lot of the movie, of course, is conversations that are not necessarily expositional conversations. They're emotional and they're character conversations. And so, is it a bank robbery movie? Yes. Is it kind of a twisted love story? Sure. Is it about a political dissent? Yes. Is it a gay rights movie? Sure. I mean, it's all these things, and it really is all those things, but at the end of the day, it's a movie about people that feel pretty real.
and I think also it is really at this time in 1975. Really, when it comes to
I wouldn't know, I wasn't here by 1 year.
But when it comes to representation for the LGBTQ plus community, you don't really see, honestly, all the way up through to the early 2000s. I mean, a lot of those characters are, a lot of them are portrayed as dangerous.
Sure, that's cruising for you.
I mean, well, not only that. I mean, like you think about like Dress to Kill, Silence
Silence of the Lambs, for sure, yeah.
Basic Instinct, Sleepaway Camp, the horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
That was the twist.
Yeah.
Was that it was
There was a penis the whole time.
I know
yeah.
that you have this murderous trans person, and it's like that's and if they're not dangerous, then they were a joke. That was that, but more likely than not, they were portrayed as dangerous. And
Also, keep in mind, something like Sleepaway Camp isn't even like, he's not a trans character. He was
yeah, right.
abused into being trans.
Sure.
But nobody that watched that movie had a problem with that. Like, that's just how he became a bad guy, and that has nothing to do with actual people with transgender. I don't want to say issues, but identity.
Yeah.
And, somebody like Leon coming out in, even earlier in the same era as a real person is not just a cartoonish, look, he moves like a lady or something like that. It's just an incredible forward-looking way to portray these characters.
Yeah, and it was surprising. It was like you have. I feel like the story itself treats it serious, even though you do have some, like, you see the cops in the background. They're kind of like, it's kind of funny, you have this guy, but they definitely, I feel like
Which story also feels realistic.
Yeah, I feel like the story itself is respectful to
Mm-hmm.
to this character and
They're all
who this
people.
person is. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a
Even the cops are people.
and it's interesting because I feel like some of the stuff that I read about it, they said at the time that wasn't even, the focus wasn't even on that. It was so much on the just the acting, and the writing of the story in general, and that they actually didn't really pay attention too much to the representation part of it, which is interesting to me. And it's like they say that people that look through this lens now see that more and appreciate it more than they were appreciating it then.
It's also hard sometimes to look at movies 40 years later, 50 years later, and be fair to them. And I think it's interesting that this movie, because you could pigeonhole movies into categories just in general, but that's a ladies movie, that's a gay movie, that kind of stuff. And this movie didn't get pigeonholed like that. This movie got nominated for Best Picture, and it won 2 Oscars, one for writing, one for acting. Like, this was a movie about things that we would look at and say, oh, look, it's about trans rights, it's about gay people, it shows gay people as people, it shows different lives. Like, this guy is a bank robber and he's not good at it, and he's also married and he has kids, and he's also gay, in love with a man who wants to be a woman. Like, that sounds like something you could see a movie that they made yesterday about, because that's issues that are discussed. The fact that it has all those things and then wasn't, shunned or categorized in a way that limited its appeal is kind of as amazing as the fact that the movie was made that way.
I feel like once, because this comes out in a time that we're at this time in like sort of cinema history, we're kind of on the cusp of the blockbuster.
Yes,
And I feel
which
like
came out that year.
Yeah.
Jaws is the same year.
So I feel like once we started having blockbusters, I feel like things started to fall more into categories. Like I feel like we had more started breaking things down.
Well, yeah, I mean,
than we
especially as you moved along, like these are blockbuster movies, which in theory are for everyone, but these are movies for grown-ups.
Yeah.
So if you made Dog Day Afternoon in the 90s, it would have been
like an indie.
yeah, it would, or like the indies that were part of majors like Miramax or Sony Pictures Classics or something like that. And if you made it today, it would be probably very well received streaming movie that would then disappear after 2 weeks at number one on Netflix or whatever. Really. So this movie came out at a time where it could find an audience, which is interesting. Never mind its legacy.
Yeah. And it's and I think what, in addition to the story, I mean, and the story is fine. Like I said, it's not too complicated. But what I think really, I mean, it's just the acting. I think is just really what is what sort of elevates the whole thing. I mean, I don't think we would be if this would have been just if you didn't have people at sort of the top of their game when it comes to acting. Then I just don't think we would be talking about it like we are now.
Well, you also, as far as acting, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've seen this movie a few times before watching it now, and I saw it on VHS.
Okay.
On
that's probably one of the first
standard
time I saw
TV.
It. Yeah.
And I watched it on Amazon Streaming, which the soundtrack was extremely dynamic. The louds were really loud, so maybe you should fix that, Amazon. That's not it didn't really work for me. But I feel like it must have been like seeing it in the theaters. I can really see the acting.
Yeah.
I can see the skill and the details that people like Al Pacino make in their performances and the whole frame of the movie that I didn't see on a pan and scan or just a chopped version of it on a 27-inch TV or something. And that's kind of revelatory to have that experience anyway. Because again, I don't think I've watched it I certainly haven't watched it on the 65-inch television that I have. So it was like watching the acting alone with new eyes.
Yeah. And I will say also from what my understanding is that they didn't use a lot of the lighting was all like natural lighting, so they were using the bank lights.
I didn't know
emergency lights. Yeah, they didn't do any of the.
Well, that's Sidney Lumet for you. I mean, he has very distinct visual approaches, even though I don't always think of his movie as that visually distinctive. And of course, he wrote that book, Making Movies, which everyone who loves movies ends up encountering at some point. And he's really.
I think I probably have it in my book.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't read it in a long time, but we talk sometimes in the show about the deliberate approaches people take to how to tell the stories, and he's certainly a guy who's thinking, very clearly about colors, and when you think of how a certain one of his movies looks, it may be because the color red is always in this kind of scene, that kind of stuff. So,
I mean, when you look at like it doesn't look like. I mean, when you look at Al Pacino, like the whole sweaty. But I remember.
Yeah, everybody in the movie gets sticky.
Yeah, but I remember specifically. This was funny. I remember sometime in the 80s, or maybe it was early 90s, someone doing some kind of spoof, like a Star Trek spoof or something, where they were doing it like Dog Day Afternoon. I hadn't seen Dog Day Afternoon at that point, and I remember it was because I was a kid at that, and they were showing it was Captain Kirk, and he was like all sweaty. And I remember once I saw Dog Day Afternoon, I was like, oh, that's what they were referencing. Funny. But they were specifically trying to make him look like he's trying to make some kind of important decision, and he was all sweaty, and it was supposed to be like Dog Day Afternoon. And I think they were just trying to go for that. I mean, everything feels very, very natural. I love the scene when the first guy leaves, the first bank robber, and tells him he's got to go, and then he asks if he can take the car.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my favorites. I'm probably jumping ahead there,
but this movie, we were talking about genre and stuff. This movie is also, it's many things, like I said, but it's also a specific kind of movie that I happen to really like, which is two kinds. First of all, I like movies about people who aren't good at things.
Okay.
Especially
those
when
are good.
What?
Those are good because they increase the drama.
Well, but I mean, it's like movies where people are really out of their depth, and a great place is people who decide to do something criminal or to become criminals. One of my favorite ones, I don't know if you've seen it, it's Jeremy Saulnier's, I think it's his first feature, Blue Ruin, which is basically about a guy who gets out of prison.
No, yeah, I've actually.
And he wants to get revenge, but he's just some guy.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to do it.
It's fantastic. It's a fantastic movie. And if he were to rob a bank, he would run into similar trouble like this. Like, he doesn't really know how to do it. Now, Sal, I don't really tell you this too explicitly. Sal seems more like, that's John Cazale's character, a guy who is a real criminal past.
Yeah.
He seems, he's very quiet about everything that's happening. He seems more confident that they need to see this through, and he certainly seems more confident with a gun.
I also think he is motivated to not. It seems like he had a bad experience in jail.
Yeah, he's not going back.
He's like, I'm not going back.
He also wants to make sure that everyone knows that he is not homosexual. It's funny because people get into a crisis and they get hooked. Well, it's so funny because he's genuinely, his offense isn't like, hey, don't call me that.
Yeah.
His offense is like, well, that's wrong. That's not who I am. Can you please have them clear that up?
Yeah,
it's such a fantastic performance.
Yeah, it is. It's very. I mean, he's just, and I feel like I don't feel like he has a lot of dialogue.
He doesn't.
But he is.
He's very quiet, and he's in less of the movie than I remembered, frankly, scene to scene.
But I think that speaks to his acting because his presence is felt so much with so little words.
Well, that's John Cazale. The guy's in 5 feature films. Every single one of them gets nominated for Best Picture. Every single one of them, he is absolutely part of that.
Yeah.
And I said this to you before we started. There's certain people, and it always happens, and it's always tragic, but somebody who's really like this extraordinary musician, actor, filmmaker, whatever, and then they die so young, and you sort of wonder, like the guy who made Dade Town, which is an amazing movie, what does the world look like?
Yeah.
Just movies and arts and stuff if they're still with us. And that's not to say that there are people who are still with us that I go, oh, why didn't they trade? But that's not really my style. But it's John Cazale is one of those talents. I told you about a documentary that I recommended called I Knew It Was You, Rediscovering John Cazale. It's a short doc, like 40 minutes or something. And you really learn a lot of amazing things about him and the people around him and his relationship with his girlfriend as he was dying. I don't know if you've heard of her. Her name is Meryl Streep. She's an up-and-coming actress.
I've heard.
And he's just a fascinating part of the movies, confined to just a few years and only 5 projects with incredible filmmakers. So
sometimes it's it is amazing to think about where the world would be if he would have stayed around.
Yeah, like someone like I can't remember their names. There's a James Hendricks and a Mother Cass, that sort of thing. That's a bad joke.
James Hendricks.
Jimi Hendrix. Mama Cass.
Okay.
I'm sorry that the audience can't see the blank face you gave me, which I deserved, by the way.
James Hendricks and the cast, and I was like,
what? No. Mother Cass. Sorry. This is just because, not everything works when you do it, including jokes or bank robberies. See how I brought that around?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Also, this is something that I said to you before we recorded, and I said, one of the things that this shares with our previous episode, Warfare, this movie has no score.
That's true, yes.
which I thought was interesting. And this is what I had said on the previous episode as well, is that when a movie has no score, it forces you to sort of make that decision. Like, how do I feel about this? Because scores, while we both love them, it is they
tells you how to feel.
They definitely make you lean away a certain way, and so that is it's definitely a different experience when, because I mean, all you have is there's I believe it's an Elton John song in the beginning.
I think that's right.
Did they play something at the end? I think.
And
that's it.
I don't remember. I remember the credits came up, but the credits weren't the credits yet. They were like, Sonny's serving 20 years in federal prison. But Amazon brought up like, here's what you watch next. And do you want to watch the credits? I was like, I'm trying to read the movie. And I don't generally like end cards and stuff like that, especially in fiction. But I was like, I want to know what happens.
Yeah, I know. Come on.
So yeah. Yeah, I think scores are a big part of the manipulation that movies do. And by the way, if you're someone that says something like, I don't want to be manipulated, well, then don't go to the movies. That's literally the whole point of them manipulating you emotionally.
Good grief. I mean,
but it also, I think you've made a really great point that what that ultimately turns into is it doesn't tell you what to think about something. I mean, like Sal, I think is as I said, more of a criminal. He doesn't have a theme song that's dark, shadowy leitmotif, telling you what to feel about them, because they all feel like, I mean, not necessarily all people I want to hang out with, but they all feel like real people who are many things at once. And this is definitely, for a couple of the characters, their worst day, but they are more than that. And also another thing, the other thing it has in common with Warfare?
What's that?
They're both bottle movies set in essentially a single location, which happens to even be the same location, a city block. Yeah. And the Dog Day Afternoon has a cutaway or two to Al Pacino's apartment where his family is, and it has the ending at the airport, but it's essentially confined to this one space without, for me, ever feeling confined in a, like, let's get out of here way storytelling wise, but you feel that he is trapped there. Yeah. And you feel the relationships that grow between him and the hostages and everything. That Sal also, to be clear, is not interested in forming. Yeah. So,
I have to say another part that I love is the when they realize that
who's they?
They, Al Pacino. Well, not they. I should say Al Pacino.
Sonny. Yeah.
Yeah. Not because he's the one that goes into the vault and realizes that they have already come.
Oh, there's nothing to rob.
All there's like $1,100. Yeah, and you're like, he's like, what? He's like, that's all there is.
It's not a successful heist.
Yes, like, and that's sort of what,
like in The Dark Knight or something.
Yeah, when the school buses are coming.
I love that. Did I mention that previously? It's so realistic and compelling.
But that is definitely just sort of drives home. Like you said, you like movies that have people that are not good at things, and that is, well, I guess that's what you should expect when you rob a bank at the end of the day.
Yes.
That's definitely,
well, that's part of the people who are out of their depth. I mean, another great example of that is obviously Fargo.
Yes.
These people are not good at crime. Even the people who are clearly career criminals, like Steve Buscemi, not great at it.
Yeah.
Peter Stormare, very much better at it.
I saw that they had, when they were preparing for this movie, one of the things that Sidney Lumet did was he had them spend 3 weeks rehearsing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they spent 3 weeks in boot camp. But that was Warfare.
No, yeah, they spent 3 weeks. But here's the funny thing: is that they spent 3 weeks in. See, goddamn it! Every time you say boot camp, they spent 3 weeks rehearsing.
No, you didn't almost say it, Scott. You said it.
Ah, damn it!
You can recover though.
But they actually improvised a lot. So I think what the idea was that they practiced almost like you would practice for a play. So they got comfortable with sort of interacting with each other, so they could go off script.
It does feel stagey to me. It does, like if this had never been a movie and was a play, I would believe it and probably think it was a very good play, not just because of the being confined to essentially one location, but it is, some of the acting is very, this isn't a criticism necessarily, but it's very theatrical.
Well, yeah, that's what I was wondering. Do you mean like it was sort of like I talk, you talk kind of thing? Or
Some of that, I mean,
I did feel that the interaction between Charles Durning and
Sonny.
and also a little bit when they were in the car.
Oh yeah.
With Lance Hendrickson, that felt a little bit. But I felt like a lot of the stuff inside the bank felt
more natural to you.
That felt a lot more natural.
That's fair.
Because that just seemed to especially like with the I thought the bank manager kind of underrated.
Oh, it's a great performance.
I thought he was pretty good. But I did feel like it was kind of natural, and sort of like the whole thing with Sal when he's like, why are these? Because that came off really natural when he goes, why are they saying two homosexuals?
Yeah, he looks hurt.
Yeah.
Like you took my lunch money hurt.
Yeah,
not like I'm angry.
Yeah, or just like something like where you're just like, why are they getting this wrong? You know what I mean? Like very like not even so much just angry, like just like, hey, they need to fix that kind of thing.
I don't really feel. I know this is kind of sacrilegious, but I don't really feel that compassionate about Sidney Lumet's movies. I appreciate them. I admire them. There's some great scripts and direction and certainly some great acting, and then they win awards. I don't ever go, why did it win that? But I don't know. I connect almost more with the reputation of Network and what it inspired than Network. Dog Day Afternoon has not inspired a lot of direct copies, but it's obviously been very inspirational in terms of the stories that it can tell, and especially the kind of acting that it does. It inspired Al Pacino so much that he eventually stopped acting like that. I guess he couldn't provide a good substitution for that. But I will mention, I have not seen either of them, but this movie, I didn't know this. It's actually been remade twice.
Really?
It was remade as an Italian movie that's considerably more violent, called Day of Violence.
Okay.
Hence the considerably more violent. And it was also remade that was in, I think, only a couple years later, like 1977.
Okay.
And then it was remade as a Hong Kong production in 1987 called People's Hero. Which I really would like to see that. It's Tony Leung is the lead. I really like him. He's really wonderful. American audiences would know him more likely from something like he's the villain in Shang-Chi, the Marvel movie. But he's a legendary Hong Kong actor and has been in so many incredible things. And with John Woo, and he did Infernal Affairs, which was remade as The Departed and stuff like that. But both of those movies seem to be well received. And it's always interesting when a remake is, people are like, yeah, that's a good movie. Yeah. That says something about the quality of the original movie too. But I don't know what it is. I've seen The Verdict and 12 Angry Men, which is probably my favorite of Lumet's movies, and Network and this and a bunch of other ones. I've even seen, what was his last one, When the Devil Knows You're Dead?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, and it's like, these are good movies and they're really well made, and I don't know. I don't feel as passionate about them.
Sometimes,
not that I don't want to talk about it, or they're not worth discussing.
I know what you're saying.
It almost kind of puzzles me why I don't connect with them.
There are some directors that are they're just not everyone's cup of tea, but doesn't mean they're not any good.
Right.
It's
true.
It's just. I saw someone say the other day, I think it was actually Simon Pegg was talking about the ability to entertain is not a good indicator for art, or like a benchmark for art.
That certainly can be true. Because
just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not good art.
Right, and it's important if you can see that and respect that. You can say that I don't. You can either say not in an insulting way.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah,
or you can say I don't really feel it, even though I see. Like, I've seen the Mona Lisa. Mm-hmm. Her smile is something. Her expression is something. I saw it. I felt what I felt, and I also felt like what I was supposed to feel without feeling obligated to feel that. And I don't, feel that way about every classic legendary movie, and that's fine.
I feel that way. There's certain like music you listen to and you go, you know what? I don't like this music, but I know why people.
Right, you get it.
I get it. I get it. But it's like but I'm just like I don't.
And music, I mean, so much even more than movies. It's so personal.
Yeah.
And I tie movies to specific times in my life, just like everyone else. But I can tie a song to a specific time in my life and listen to it driving to work. And I've never watched Dog Day Afternoon driving to work. So.
Please don't.
I'm not planning on it.
But that is, I think with something with like, you have some of these like really revered directors, you're not going to like all their movies anyway. I mean,
oh sure, yeah.
And
even Steven Spielberg's made movies that I just thought were fine.
Well, I mean, everybody has their movies that they're like you're within a particular director. You're gonna look at it and say you're gonna probably rank them, and some of them you're like, oh, this was, I don't know what they were thinking.
Well, but I also like watching artists of any kind stretch.
Yes.
If Steven Spielberg made all the Jaws sequels and then only made monster movies, I'd be like, these are great monster movies. I wonder what else he could do. So,
So, do you feel like what it had to say? Do you feel like it said what it had to say?
Well, you mean like what's the message of the movie?
Yeah.
I don't know that it has a message. I think it has a goal to tell a story that has surprises in it, and involves characters that feel like real people. I mean I think it's Maria giving Sal the rosary at the end, like, I'll pray for you when you're going to get on the plane right before he dies, and
Sidney Lumet said that it was for you to. His wording was that that freaks are like
people too.
People. What was it? I actually freaks are just folks. That's what he said.
No, and that's a great message. And a lot of people today, like, I don't need to hear that message. I already believe that.
Yeah.
But I also understand how that was such a striking thing to say in a big Hollywood movie that got recognized as such, 50 years ago, before I was born.
And I mean, like, I feel like I definitely did. You feel like you're rooting for these guys that are robbing a bank, and you're hoping that they get away with it. Which I think.
Well, I don't hope they get away with it. I hope they don't get hurt.
Yes,
because they're not bad. They're not John Dillinger.
When I say I hope they get
Clyde.
away with it, I should say I hope their plan to escape is successful.
I mean, in real life, the guy, I don't know how to pronounce it, John Wojciech, is the basis for Sonny. Mm-hmm. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison, served 5.
Okay.
So, he could have died that day. And he apparently, those guys that are the basis of this story, which I think was a magazine article, I can't remember, they're way, way more eccentric than as portrayed in the movie. Same way, do you remember that movie? I bet no one has ever talked about Dog Day Afternoon and then segged to this movie for a moment. Pain and Gain, the Michael Bay movie, where these guys are completely out of their minds and they think, like, if I torture someone and force them to sign their assets over to me, then it's legal because they signed it over. Like, it's a level of stupidity that's not the same kind of approach to a heist that this movie has. But apparently those two guys were, like Michael Bay said, that the director said that, like, you wouldn't believe it. Yeah. Like, I had to dial some of this back. And especially in 1975, there's some crazy stuff in this movie. Like, this guy is robbing a bank because he wants to pay for his wife's, who's not a woman yet. He wants to pay for her sex change and biologically a woman and all this kind of stuff. And, it's, I don't know the details. There's a documentary about the real people. I haven't seen it, but, so you should watch the John Cazale documentary first. But, it's really, if the people feel real, and for everyone in the movie to feel real, if that's the director's message, I get that. I like that.
Uh-huh. So, I mean, I feel like it was definitely a success in doing that. So, I mean, I feel like I kind of talked about my favorite scene was obviously when the guy tells him at the beginning that their third bank robber that he's got to go, and then he's got, not only does he have to leave, he has to take the car.
Yeah.
And I just love the reaction that Pacino has to. He's like, take the car. He's so he can't believe that he's going to take the car.
Yeah.
And then also when
but that also really happened, that they had a third accomplice who, as soon as it started, before they announced we're having a robbery, he's like, I can't do this, and he left.
And also the but he goes, look, I'm Catholic, I don't want to hurt anyone.
Right.
And so I did like there's those little moments that really just sell those characters, and so I did like that where he's trying to light the register on fire, and that's the whole thing. That's part of why they get caught so quick, is because he's trying to light that on fire. So that's if they were ever to recast this, I think Adam Driver in the Pacino part.
Okay.
And Barry Keoghan, is that how you say his last name?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, as Sal.
Those are interesting choices.
Yeah, those are my two. And then maybe Charles Durning, I don't know, John Bernthal or somebody like that.
That would work too.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what role I'd put him in, but I just want Paul Walter Hauser in every movie.
Oh, Bank Manager.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Bank Manager.
Thank
perfect.
you. Perfect.
Actually, it's
Thank
funny
you.
because I actually thought of that, and then I was like, and then I forgot to mention that one. So, I mean, all in all, I think this is a movie that it's just amazing to me, like that a movie like this came out in 1975. I just can't, and it's
which is just another part of its legacy. It's very they even in an era where studios made movies for grown-ups, this was a different thing.
Yeah, because we really were in that that late 60s and through most of the 70s, we were just sort of in that different era of movie making, and then of course we hit the 80s and things got goofy. Again.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, hey, I love 80s movies.
Sure,
but they definitely. I mean, you had some gems because hey, Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of my favorite movies, but
who's in that one?
I think this guy Harry Ford.
Harry Ford. I see what you did there. Yeah, it's not funny. You're right. I blew it.
So that's a wrap on Dog Day Afternoon, and we will be back again with our next episode where we will totally overanalyze.
And why will we do that?
Because story matters.